how to choose colorful bases for your miniatures, and why. Let me start off by saying that this video is not saying that this is the best or better way to choose what colors to paint your bases with. This is just my preferred way of painting bases, and also my way of teaching you a little bit about the color wheel. Welcome to Hobby MoPro, the show designed for the miniature and scale modeler enthusiasts who's looking for more motivation and productivity tips. So do subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in your YouTube feeds. So there are three main reasons why I think you should explore colorful bases for your miniatures if you don't already. This is for the hobbyist who wants to be a bit more adventurous in their color choices with their bases, or for the hobbyist who may be tired of just painting the same brown or painting the same black or gray underneath the miniatures. Let me give you three more reasons on why I think you should give this trick a try. First, colorful bases will make your miniatures stand out. In addition to what I was saying earlier about getting tired of your usual black, gray, or brown bases, having a different color on your miniature will make it look more cool, interesting, and unique. And for the wargamers out there who play on the tabletop, it'll also make your miniatures pop out more on the battlefield. As we all know, most tabletop battlefields are very muted colors, if not green or brown or grayish. You want to have your miniature stand out. Of course, the cons here is that your opponent could directly see the miniatures that you own and will not miss a target. But also, for the forgetful players like me, you'll be able to see all the little miniatures and units that you may or may not have activated for that turn. Really, it's just a way to make your miniatures pop on the battlefield. Reason number two, specifically for 40k players or people who play a more fantasy or futuristic type of miniatures, colorful bases are a great way or tool to tell people that this miniature is standing on a different type of atmosphere or standing on a different type of planet like Mars or maybe a swamp planet. Having colorful bases will show that your miniature is in an unnatural setting and just pushing the envelope more that this is not an Earth, this is not an everyday miniature or an everyday type of texture or everyday type of terrain. Third, in addition to having your whole unit stand out from the battlefield, your actual model will stand out from the base itself. And in the same way that we like to make the various details on our miniature stand out, we also want to differentiate or separate the miniature from its foreground or background, or in other case, its base. So the base should be differentiated clearly from the miniature, not making it look like one black or one gray blob together forming a shape of a miniature figurine. You want your base to be clear that this is the ground and everything on top is the subject matter or the figure. So how exactly do we achieve this distinction or uniqueness with our color choices on the bases? Well, first we'll be using the color wheel. And in that color wheel, we'll be using exactly the complementary colors on it. Then adding those complementary colors, we'll be using a lot of contrast principles to really help define and separate your miniature from the base without making it look too painful in the eye. And most of all, making it still look natural while adding more color into your entire figure. Step one is to look at your model or paint scheme and identify the major color of that model. If it's green or blue or red or yellow, and then taking that main color or the dominant color of your miniature and use that to design the complementary color, and that complementary color will be the base. And those complementaries will support the contrasts in what we're trying to do here. But if you have a miniature that's dominantly black, dominantly white, or maybe dominantly neutral colored like brown or flesh, you want to choose the accent color or the color that's secondarily dominant, like maybe their pants or maybe an accessory, and use that decorative color as the primary color and then choose the contrast color to that as the color of your base. Now, using that secondary complementary color as a color for base, you're already establishing that this is entirely a different item or object compared to the person or figure or monster standing on top of it. Complementary colors have this sort of magic of making two different colors completely different from one another but still look like they belong. These colors are ingrained in our brain to make us look at the two and not make it seem like they're out of place, but also acknowledge that it's a colorful model, it's a unique model, it's still bright, it's something I want to look at and it doesn't strain me. Using complementary colors is a great way to add variety without making it look like too much. And at the same time, you're also not copying the same colors of your miniature on the base and avoiding making the entire object or figurine look like some random blob of one color. Now that you have your two colors, you want to make sure that those two colors naturally belong to one another. And to you army painters out there, we all know that using a wash is a great way to tie everything together. So when you look at your base, let's say you're painting something that's dominantly green or dominantly white, you want to take a lot of dark or earthly washes into that base to make it more believable that it is still the ground of some alien planet. That's really the short tip I have for you today. I know most of us like to make our models look very realistic, very cohesive and muddy and grungy, and especially for the army painters to make it more believable, to have camouflage. But also I love painting. I love the painting aspect because you get to be creative and make models pop, and this is how I prefer to paint my bases, always choosing the complementary colors just to make my bases alone be very unique from the next guy's bases without even the figures on top of them. And it makes my armies more distinguished or identifiable from the next army of Ultramarines or the next army of Imperial Fists. And adding that additional flair to your bases will just give that extra uniqueness and distinction from all the other similarly painted models that you might be up against in competitions or in matches. Do try it out, do study the color wheel. Complementary colors is only a small facet of the color wheel, and who knows, maybe I might make more videos about it. But you'll only find out if you subscribe to my channel and leave a comment also if you want to see more of this, or if you want to request a type of topic that you want me to talk about. I'll be happy to oblige and make a type of video addressing that concern. Now this has been Louie of Louie Love His Minis, reminding you to hobby every day to keep the screws away.